Three, two, one. We're going live. What's up, everybody? It's Tyler with Hooksets Are Free. It is Saturday night, July 29th, 2023. Hope everybody's doing well. It is a little extra late for me. It's 9:45 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, so 11:45 East Coast time. This is a little bit later than I ordinarily would go live. So if we don't have a great turnout tonight, I very well might not stay on all that long. We'll kind of see how this goes. But I was on with Debo earlier tonight. Had a fun time on his stream with he and Randy, and that was fun, as it always is whenever given the opportunity. Hang out with some other fellow bait nerds, if you will. We were talking favorite lures in a bunch of different categories, just perusing Tackle Warehouse and such. So had the opportunity to do that and hang out with a couple hundred people there, which was super fun, but was a bit impromptu. And then it's been a little bit of a wild last hour trying to put my kids to bed, and forgot that we're taking care of our neighbor's pet right now while they're out of town. So we kind of have been scrambling, and I finally got them down to bed and was able to hop on. So we'll kind of see how this goes, see if anybody ends up wanting to join. And if not, it's okay. I'm cool with it being kind of a shorter stream if need be. But if you guys want to chill, I am down to chill. I do have two types of bourbon, and happy to drink and hang out late night with you guys. So, Brendan, what's up, dude? Thank you very much. Yeah, it was fun. Tennessee Bassmaster, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Just got rid of a migraine. You missed Debo's stream? Okay. No worries. Well, yeah, I had the opportunity to jump on that. It was fun. Little Tommy, how you doing tonight, dude? Yo, Frank. How's it hanging? Douglas Wagner, you made it. Congrats on winning the giveaway tonight on Debo's stream. That's pretty cool, dude. So, first bourbon that I'm going to be drinking tonight is a little bit lesser known, but is under the name Pinhook. This is their Bourbon Dini. I don't know if I drank this on stream a couple of streams ago, but I've been making quite a bit of progress on this bottle, kind of plowing through it. But I follow the master distiller of Pinhook on Instagram. Really cool guy, interesting story behind Pinhook, and he does a ton of hard work in. He's more the master blender than master distiller, but this is a high rye bourbon, and I really like it by itself. But interestingly enough, when drinking other bourbons alongside it, or especially before drinking the Pinhook, I don't like it quite as well. So I've just been kind of flying through this bottle, and I like it neat. I like it by itself. I think it runs at 100 proof. Yep, 100 proof, aged 3 years minimum, because it's blended. They don't say exactly what the age statement is, but each color of Pinhook represents a different horse. It's kind of like the Kentucky Derby, if you will. And each year they have different names for the horses. So pretty cool deal. But this is the Bourbon Dini by Pinhook. Cheers, everybody. Hope you're having a great Saturday night. Dang, Brendan. Got to be on the water by 5 a.m. and still need to do some work in the shop. Well, no worries. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks for stopping by. Julie, howdy again. Glad to see you in here. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Gators Adventures, yo. I'm happy to talk about whatever it is that you guys want to talk about tonight. There's a few of you that are perhaps newer in here, which is fun. Shop Life, how you doing? So if you guys have any particular questions for me about the type of fishing that I do, any particular lures, opinions like that, feel free to shoot in the chat. I will respond to you. This live stream, because it's late and because I've got quite a bit smaller of a channel than Debo, we don't tend to have more than maybe 20 or upwards of 30 people in here any given night. So I do respond to pretty much every one of the comments that rolls through here. And like I said, if you guys are interested, I'd be happy to give this dude away tonight. Don't know if any of you guys are here for that opportunity specifically. I think maybe I have it loaded upside down in the package. In fact, maybe that's why it was a little difficult to put back in there. But this is the Bass Pro Shops XPS Swimmer or XPS Glide Bait. They called it the Swerve. So Bass Pro XPS Swerve. It's their new glide bait that they released about a year ago, and then they finally became readily available at various Cabela's and Bass Pro locations sometime this winter or early spring. This one has an odd sticker on it because I did buy it online, but I'll take that off so it looks nice and pretty through the package for you. This is the Clearwater Shad color, which I think is probably their best color pattern. I just felt like being generous, and since Randy was talking about a ghost pattern made by XPS and Bass Pro, decided to just say I would give it away. But I've got a trout pattern and a bluegill pattern as well. Both of those look fine, but this Clearwater Shad is probably my favorite looking one. But quite frankly, I haven't gotten enough time on the water with these glide baits just yet, and I feel like I ought to give back and let you guys try it out. So, dude, Trevor, sorry to hear that. It's been a little bit of a bonkers last hour for me, so I'm sorry that you were just chilling, waiting for me to go live. But yes, I am into whiskey, bourbon specifically. I have tried Screwball. That's not exactly up my alley. I don't love flavored whiskeys per se. I'm a little bit of a purist, so no. It's a cool concept, right? And it definitely appeals to a certain audience, but peanut butter whiskey is not necessarily my jam, but it is good stuff. Trevor and Douglas, are you guys related to each other? Adam saw the Swerve in person. Thought it was a very big in dimensions. Yeah, it's very tall bait, but surprisingly not as heavy as you would think. Jeffrey Huff, what's up, dude? Lure Lab, hola, hola. Julie, it is a pretty sick looking glide bait. I will say it's pretty solid. Daniel T in the house. What's up, Mr. Moderator? How you doing tonight? No problem. You can be back in 5 minutes. Doesn't matter, dude. We're going to kind of cover the gamut. So we could kind of do a stream like what Debo did, but instead peruse on Discount Tackle, since you guys know that's where I represent, as opposed to Debo over at Tackle Warehouse. And I can show you some of my favorite stuff there, and perhaps things that you guys don't have in your arsenal or that you don't use as a go-to just yet. But before we do that, I will give you the quick little update on what I used this week, the couple times that I went out. I think I only went out 3 times. Caught fish on 2 of those trips. Caught like 8 or 9 fish. And the last time I went to a different body of water, caught nothing. So that happens. Oh, you guys are not related. All right. JP, what's up, dude? How you doing? Packing for your derb? Okay. Right on. Good luck tomorrow, dude. I hear you, man. That's funny. You chose to pass on it? Interesting. I don't know that I think the Shine Glide is a better bait. They're both good. In fact, I kind of like the profile and the fatter body of the Swerve just a little bit better. But the Shine Glide is great for the money too. I would put it right in that same range. I think it's a bigger bait than what you get out of the S waiver and a little bit more versatile. But but it's probably on par with the Shine Glide, and I think it's worth a go. So maybe you ought to reconsider, or hopefully maybe you win tonight's giveaway. There's 20 people in here right now, so I'm happy to do the giveaway, and maybe we'll do it, at like 30 minutes in, so as to not keep you guys up so crazy late. But quick little update. I used a wide variety of baits this week, and I caught most of my fish on a bait that was recommended by none other than Matthew Acevedo. You guys probably all know him from various streams online. He's very active in watching and participating in the chats. He goes by the name South Jersey Fisherman, and he is a JDM snob, or should I say aficionado? Let's be kind about that. But Matt from South Jersey, he was telling me about a bait that I had sitting on the wall right here in this empty spot, and asked me if I had used it. And quite frankly, I had not. I purchased it earlier this spring from the Hookup Tackle, which does specialize in JDM tackle. And it looked like an interesting bait, but then I just kind of forgot about why I purchased it and didn't really know when I would use it. And then Matt reminded me that it really is designed to be thrown weightless as a shallow, over the top of grass, soft plastic swim bait, fished weightless. And it is the bottom up Volley Swimmer. I'll show you what the bait looks like. So, it looks fairly unassuming, but it has a unique shape where it's got this flat bottom, unlike a lot of baits that have a flat top, and it has this reverse shaped body that is triangular with a flat bottom, and it has a super wild rocking and shimmy action to it that took me a little while to get used to. I think it might perform a little bit better with a nail weight or two, or even on a keel weighted super light, either a 1/16 or a 1/8 ounce belly weighted swim bait hook. But I was very impressed with the action on it. It has this super aggressive rolling, very fast rolling action to it. And it has a really solid kick on it. But that rolling action triggered a bunch of bites. I went through the entire pack of this green pumpkin chartreuse color in 2 days. Caught probably 7 or 8 fish on it. So not a durable bait. I will say that the first day I was throwing it on a screw lock hook, and that held up a little bit better, although the tail did rip off. I had lost a bait to some heavy grass, and where there was some fishing line that someone had already broken off. And so with one of my more ultralight setups, I was using a small wake bait. You can see it here. That was the dual hardcore wake bait. And I broke it off on somebody else's line, and then was able to cast around it. And I hooked this fish on the Volley Swimmer, and it got hung up in that mess. It stayed hooked up and on. And then I had to use a different bait with straight braid and a big hook on it to break off the line that I had broken off and bring in the bait that I had lost. So that was kind of a wild story, but did manage to catch a couple of other good fish that day on that Volley Swimmer that were all in like maybe that 2 to 2.5 pound range. And then the next day I went back to the same place. That dude got a little bloody. Uh, he was maybe a little less than 2 pounds. This dude was more like 2.5, pushing 3. Um, Floppy Doodle. And then this dude was about 3. And then I switched and caught a couple fish on the Baby D-Bomb on a Tokyo rig. Just punching through some matted vegetation. And that was a good time. So caught like a 3.5. And then a slightly smaller fish that was more like 2.5. But had a good time. And oh yeah, one other fish that was smaller on the Baby D-Bomb. But had a good time fishing this week. That Volop swimmer I would recommend. However, it's very fragile. It's very oily. Just rigging it on a standard EWG hook is not ideal because it will slide up over the bend of the hook. And so using a screw lock style hook will certainly help in keeping the bait on the hook. And it does have a good hook slot and places for you to expose the bait, but it's got a very interesting and unique action. I quite like it. So I do recommend it. Okay. You like swim baits with a body roll? Yep, I hear you. I would not say a skinny dipper has nearly the body roll. I would not say that they're similar. No. Matt just gave you a shout out, and the Volop swimmer had great success on it this week. Although it's not very durable, but quite like it, dude. Just think it needs to be thrown on a screw lock and maybe with a little bit of weight. But I do like how it runs shallow. I do like how it has a ton of roll on it, and I did catch a bunch of fish, especially some pretty good ones on it. That's exactly right, and that's kind of where I went to use it, Julie. Best swim bait ever, Baka Burrito. That's a hot take. I have not used the Baka Burrito, but interesting. Hot take. Best swim bait ever? Take it easy, dude. Yeah, Adam poses a good question. Better than a swing impact? I assume you're talking about a swing impact fat, but yeah, it's kind of aggressive to say that it's the best swim bait ever. You guys are funny. Daniel, tell us, what were you up to, dude? What were you throwing, and how big was the biggest fish that you caught? How many did you catch? All top water for you. That's sweet, dude. I would not be mad about it. I did have some fish blow up on some frogs for me, but no hookups. I hooked one fish and could not get it to the bank. But I had probably 5 or 6 fish blow up on a frog, but they were just hitting it. We're not actually taking it under. It's not like I was too quick setting on them. They were just busting and hitting the frog, not actually eating it. So kind of interesting, but fun to know that that they were interacting with it. So ultimately, I just went to, a medium heavy weighted Tokyo rig to punch through that grass and pitch around it, and caught some fish doing that. So Shop Life says hate the jig hook in the burrito. Yep. You tie a stinger to it. Yeah, I've never used the burrito myself, but I've heard mixed things. I know Tactical Bassin really likes it, but it is a pretty expensive bait for what it is, if we're being honest. Yeah, I suppose not super cool or sexy, but effective, yes. Berkeley Power Worms are old school and legit. They work. Are you throwing the 7 or the 10-inch? You know, Debo was talking about those a fair amount tonight and has always been a fan. I am a fan, but I don't throw them very often, maybe a couple times a year. And it's hit or miss for me. You know, I never fully commit to any one bait when I'm out there, other than perhaps, you know, like I talked about earlier on Debo's stream. This is one that has just been getting the nod for me on a very regular basis for the last couple of seasons. I have it tied on in one way or another. This year, I've really been enjoying throwing it as a fluke style bait on a EWG style hook, weightless, but just the weight of that hook will allow the bait to slow sink or even suspend, depending on how you're working the bait, once you pull the salt out of that bait. You know, I've talked about this before, but the Strike King Zero and Z2 made by Z-Man do have salt in them. So once you stretch the baits out, the salt will come out of them, and you'll be able to see that. And it goes from being a pretty buoyant bait to a very neutrally buoyant bait. And it will slow sink on the fall. It will stay horizontal when nose hooked on a drop shot. It's a killer bait. So I've been throwing that a lot, but I like to mix it up on a regular basis. I don't have kind of a go-to. Yeah, I did catch a couple fish nail weighted on the Z2 like a week ago. Caught like 7 fish one day on just the baby Z2. Striking Zero is a good bait, but I tend to like to fish it wacky rigged more than anything. Usually on a weighted wacky rig. I showed you guys on perhaps one of my last streams, but check this out. This is straight out of the pack. This is what the Zero looks like. You know, it's just a Senko style bait, but it's made from a Laztec and it is packed with salt. So once you stretch it out, look what happens. The bait gains. Not only does it look more beat up, which I think the fish tend to like, you get more of a natural color, but you gain like a good 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch in length. And look at how much more limp this is. So, yeah, it's interesting, but I do like to stretch them out, and it gives it that color. Well, now it's raining salt again on my laptop like it was last week when I do that, but really gives it much more of a pale color than a traditional green pumpkin. So pretty cool deal, but those are good baits for sure. I've always thrown the Zero as more of a weighted wacky or a drop shot style stick bait, but it's a good one. Okay, so shall we hop on Discount Tackle before we do this giveaway in, 15 or 20 minutes from now? This doesn't need to be a super long live stream tonight, but yeah, you're absolutely right about that. It does give it more of a max scent look, that supernatural color, right? Good point. So let me hop on Discount Tackle. Daniel T, would you mind dropping my link in the chat? Sorry that my sleeves are coming up. If Daniel T is in here right now, I would appreciate it if you would drop my affiliate link real quick. Otherwise, I'm happy to do so. But a line through weighted wacky, take it easy. That's interesting. All right, guys, there's my affiliate link. If you are interested in any of the stuff that we talk about tonight over at Discount Tackle, please do consider using my link. It does help out, and it helps my relationship with Discount Tackle as well. I was the first brand ambassador for them a few years ago. They've now got a rock solid team of, 8 or maybe upwards of 10 brand ambassadors at Discount Tackle, but it is an awesome place to shop online if you like to buy fishing tackle at a discount. At any given time, they're usually running a sale. Like right now, through Monday, you can get 20% off of all Z-Man and 20% off of all River to Sea. River to Sea rarely discounts their stuff. You know, you would have seen Tackle Warehouse was doing a River to Sea sale as well, but that is one company that does have manufactured, set retail prices. They don't allow discounts. So let's take a look at Discount Tackle. Let's see what's new. I don't want you guys to see everything that's new necessarily, because I don't want you guys buying it all out, because I do have a purchase coming up in just a few days. But you know what? If it happens, it happens. So be it. So Discount Tackle has gotten in a bunch of new stuff, including Depths and Optimum products. So the Optimum Boom Boom and Baby Boom Boom are in stock, as well as the Opti Shad. I have not tried the Opti Shad. It's got a unique profile that doesn't necessarily appeal all that much to me, but I do think it has a lot of roll to it because it's that super thin profile, very narrow body. But the Baby Boom Boom is a big time sleeper. I absolutely love this bait. Yep, I do still have one sitting here in this package. I love this bait. So this is what the packaging looks like. 4.5-inch soft plastic bait that is designed to go with either a 4 or 6/0 owner beast hook. They're all hand poured. I believe it's $10 a pack, and you get 3 of them in there. Let's see what the cost is. $9 a pack. Okay, so that's pretty affordable. We're talking $3 per bait. They don't have the color that I'm showing you right now, but I arguably like this Jackson trout a little bit more, and am likely to pick some of these up, restock on them in next month's Discount Tackle package that I purchased. So like I said, hand poured. They've got a really good head wag combined with a solid tail action that's not overly dramatic. This is one of the original baits that was designed after the Bass Pro XPS swim bait that was a sleeper and that a ton of pros were a big fan of until it went out of production for whatever reason. Fred Rumbanis was one of those pros that was a big proponent of that bait and went out of his way to recreate it. And I believe it was the 6-inch that was to recreate that. So this is the Boom Boom swim bait. Comes 2 to a pack and definitely takes more of an 8 or even a 10/0 beast hook. But in my opinion, it's a little bit heavy of a bait. Has a great action, but you'll get a lot more bites on this little Baby Boom Boom, which is a 4.5-inch bait, and it is wicked. So if you don't already have that, I definitely recommend picking it up. It is a sleeper of a bait. I want to say they retail for like $10 at most retailers, but maybe it is that $8.99. I don't know. Maybe it's $10 for the bigger size. The Boom Boom is awesome though, okay? If you don't already throw them, you need to get on that. They're not the most durable. You might need to use a little bit of Mend It on the top of the bait as you set the hook once or twice, but they'll also take just a standard jig hook really well. You don't have to throw them weedless necessarily. So $8.99 per pack of the 3. The Sunfish, I have heard, can be a little bit messed up color-wise, so I don't necessarily recommend it, but the rest all do come out quite well. Love this Ghost Minnow as well as the Jackson Trout personally, but I think all of them are great colors. That sexy minnow is good. The straight up shad looks like a great color, as well as both of the whites. That money color, this looks like it's kind of a Megabass copy, little pearlescent white. Okay. They don't have the standard boom boom, but they have the line through boom boom, which is a 6-inch bait. Well, looks like they've got the 4 and the 5-inch sizes. Maybe they don't make it in a 6, but a 4 and a 5. And it's a pre-rigged line through bait. So you get one per pack, and they're also $8.99. So might want to take a look into those. I have actually not thrown the line through boom boom, but don't be surprised if you see me pick those up. And they've got some depth soft plastics. The Bull Flat is one that is highly regarded, but one that I don't have experience with. And they don't have it in the giant size, but they've got it in the 3/8 and the 4/8, well, as well as the 3-inch. So you can see a bunch of colors are already sold out. So people are noticing and jumping on them, but not cheap at $11 or $11.50 per pack, depending on the size that you get, or even $11.99 for the 4.8. So not cheap. Depth's Pulse Cod popper. That's the most expensive popper that I have personally seen, but I've heard pretty good things. I don't know how tempted I am to buy it at $28, but I would probably buy it on a JDM specific website. Sakamata shad is a soft plastic jerkbait that has a fantastic reputation, but that I have not fished yet. I've been recommended to it a number of times. I have 1 or 2 or 3 packs of them, have taken them out with me and just not tied them on. I'm an idiot, but Matthew Acevedo, South Jersey Fisherman, has come to recommend the heavyweight Sakamata shad as of late, just because I guess it has a slightly more aggressive action on a straight retrieve. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. I'm not quite sure exactly what you had said about that, but the Sakamata shad is supposed to be a very good soft plastic jerkbait. So check it out. And then they've got the cover scat. Okay. If you're not already throwing some heavy poop, just kidding. If you're not already throwing the cover scat, you need to. The cover scat, even if you're skeptical, is a very good bait. I recommend it in the 3.5 or the 4-inch, not the smaller 2.5 or 3, whatever it is. But this is a heavy bait that will take a big hook, and it has a unique sink to it. And then you can walk it underwater. You can scoot it along the bottom. It emulates a crawfish with its claws tucked in, a defenseless crawdad, and it gets bit very, very well. If you haven't thrown it yet, you need to give it a shot. I know that it seems gimmicky, but it's not. Same exact deal like what happened with the Senko way back in the day. People, it's just, you look at it and you think that's kind of ridiculous, especially with a name like that. But if you haven't tried the cover scat, you need to give it a whirl. I just showed you the Blue Marin or Blue Melon 4-inch. It's right there in stock. I didn't even know that they make a Falcon Lake craw. Guess they're trying to appeal to us Americans. Green Pumpkin is in stock. They've got a lot of colors and sizes in stock right now of the cover scat. So if you haven't tried it, give it a shot. Okay. Cover scat is still an underrated bait, even though it has been the hottest selling bait in Japan for the last 3 or 4 years now, for good reason. You know, they like to fish low and slow on the bottom and in finessier style presentations, but this is it's a finesse presentation that you throw on power gear. Okay. Because it's such a heavy bait, it will cast really far, and you do need to use a legit medium heavy power rod. Now they've also got the Depths Buzz Jet in stock, which is pretty cool. The new Yozuri floating wake prop. I believe this just came out at iCast, so this is a new bait, and it's in stock at Discount Tackle. Looks kind of like that Buzz Jet, am I right? Oh no, the Buzz Jet is not jointed, and this wake prop is jointed. So either way, Yozuri makes great stuff, and I do recommend them. I will probably try this at some point. Looks like they've got it in 2 sizes. The smaller one doesn't list the weights right here, but about a 3.5 inch and then a 4.25 or 4.2 inch, whatever that is. Looks like a good bait. Wow, more Depths. Look at that. Soft plastics, the Depths MS Craw, the Buster Cave Frog, the Slither Cave Frog, the Depths Evoke Square Bills, Boom Shakalaka, all expensive but good. The Evoke Zero Topwater, super expensive Whopper Plopper. I have been skeptical about this bait, but heard good things about it. But for $50, it's like, yo, that's expensive. And then we're down to baits that we've already talked about. I picked up both of these baits in my package from last month from Discount Tackle. So the Vision 95 and the Vibration X Dyna. There's the Vision 95. It's got that like flash foil inside of it, which is a pretty cool deal. Although, you know, they do make it in some matte finish colors as well. And this is supposed to be a bait that has a very aggressive and shallow water style action. And I'm curious to give it a whirl. And then the Vibration X Dyna is little baby side lipless crankbait. Kind of bridging the gap between a lipless and a blade bait. And I'm excited to give it a whirl. So picked up a couple of each of those last month. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I mean, it feels a little bit weird when Yozuri and Dual Hardcore come out with like the same bait because they're already sister companies and most people know that. But I guess some people are just, you know, brand loyal to Yozuri and don't know Dual Hardcore. So I suppose that's a possibility, right? Lure Lab, cut it out. Rather get a burrito. Yeah, I'll make you a breakfast burrito, dude. It's one of my specialties in this house. Dude, the wick prop, it seems a little subtle at night. It's a plastic prop, so I'd probably throw something a little bit louder than that, but I'm sure it works well. Yamatanuki, I've only tried a couple of times, but I think I'd probably go cover scat before the Yamatanuki, but that said, I don't know the subtle differences between them. I know that the Yamatanuki is perhaps made a little bit more for grass fishing, where that little nubbin on top is supposed to stick out of the top of the grass and have perhaps a slightly different buoyancy. But all these new poo baits coming out. The cover scat was the OG. Does have a remarkable fish catchability to it. So can't recommend it enough. Yes, Daniel. I talked about it on Debo's stream tonight. You know, I listed it first as like not necessarily my favorite jerkbait overall, but like something that is absolutely a sleeper and everybody needs to know about. I'm not sure if I gave you one, Daniel, or if you just decided to buy it on your own, but it is a little bit different than the Yozuri jerkbait, right? So you'll see that they have a similar profile to them, similar body shape, like they look very similar. However, the internals are different. So with the Yozuri, you get a standard weight transfer system, and then you get that etched ribbing on the bottom, which they claim is for vibration and water displacement, whatever. And then you get that oh so classic and ugly print on top of the bait. Now, the dual hardcore is quite a bit different. You get a different bill on it, or do you? Yeah, it's a different bill. If I could put them right next to each other, you'd be able to see. So it's a thinner bill and shaped a little bit more dramatically. And then you get a magnetic weight transfer system that shifts to the back and then locks in. And I believe it was patented in Japan. So there's not a lot of companies that have that. And yeah, it's got flat sides, a very aggressive darting action, yet a really solid swimming action on a straight retrieve. Narrow bill and very affordable bait. So they make it in 3 different sizes. I personally like the 95 best. It is that small 4-inch profile that still has 3 hooks on it. Super underrated. They make it in some great color patterns, and it retails at like $10 minus the discount that you can get on discount tackle. So can't recommend them enough. All right. Hey, that's a good point, Gators Adventures. GMC trucks and Chevy. Close, but different. That's a GP. Good point. You're right about that. You know, just like most magnetic weight transfer systems, it takes a little bit of getting used to. Okay, guys, we're losing a couple people. Before I lose everybody, I'll just go ahead and do the giveaway right now. Let me see if I can set up the giveaway. I forget the link to it, so I'm going to try and find it real quick. Oh, I don't need that. I don't need all these tutorials and shite. I haven't done a giveaway in quite a while, so let me see if I can do this right. All right, so we are going to do hashtag swerve. And I probably need to share that with you guys. Present. Sorry, guys. I've got it pulled up. All right, guys. That's what we're doing. Hashtag swerve to win this bad boy right here, which is the Bass Pro Shops XPS Swerve Glide Bait. This is going to help motivate me to send out this as well as a handful of other things that I owe a few people this week. So giving this away, I appreciate you guys stopping by tonight. To those of you who are regulars, as well as those of you who might be new and from Debo's stream, that he was so kind to have me on tonight. Debo's a good guy. As you can see, we are switching up and moving on to oh shite. Sorry. Can I go bigger? Yeah, there we go. We're moving on to makers, okay? Yeah, it's a big bottle. Just got it a few days ago. Standard makers will always have a soft spot in my heart because it's what my grandfather drank like on the daily. He was not a bourbon aficionado, but he was a bourbon drinker, and he would drink bourbon like every night. And it's what he would drink was makers for the longest time until my brother helped get my grandpa into a little bit wider variety of stuff at the very end of his life. And my youngest child, my son, who's 2 years old, is named after my grandfather. Wills is his name. And so standard makers is one that I always circle back around to a couple times a year, but it doesn't quite have the heat that I prefer. So I'll drink a Makers 101 or a Makers 46 or any of their small batch products a lot more frequently than I will drink the standard 90 proof makers. But when I find it for a good deal, I got this at Costco. So it was like, $40 for a handle of makers. And I just kind of felt like it. So decided to pick it up. So cheers, everybody. Second pour of the night. It's actually Wills with an S on the end, plural. Wills, very unconventional name. His name was Charles Wills Long. And so, yeah, we named our son Wills. Nice. Makers 46 is a good one. A little bit higher proof. About $1.10, $1.13, something like that. Definitely a good one. Used to be one of those that was harder to get stateside. And then thank God, it's become a little bit easier to procure over the last couple of years. But I believe it was Makers 46 that you could only get in like duty-free liquor shops. So if you were traveling and stuff like that internationally, you could find it, but more difficult to find locally. Daniel, thank you. Everybody hit that thumbs up button for me. Do me that solid. And yeah, I'm going to draw the giveaway winner in just a moment. What are we working with? 15 entries out of 26 people in here. Let's get that up to 20 if we can. If we can't, that's okay. I'll give you guys just maybe 2 more minutes before we draw the winner and jump back over to Discount Tackle and keep browsing and talk about some sleepers in a few given categories, okay? Might be a new way for me to navigate Discount Tackle because I usually have my own way of navigating the website, which is through new arrivals and top sellers, and then by searching by brand. But I don't think I usually search by bait or lure type necessarily. So any last calls? Who wants a glide bait for free? You can trust me. I'm going to send this out. Unless I already lost it, which I'm pretty sure I didn't. Brand new glide bait. It is 7-inch glide bait. Weighs about 2 ounces. I don't think the package tells you spot on what it weighs. I might be able to weigh it out right here for you. Despite what everything says online, I'll tell you exactly what it weighs with the hooks on and everything. All right. All right. On we go. $88 grams. Or 3.17 ounces. So I was actually a little bit off when I mentioned on Debo's stream. I thought it was more like 2 ounces. I guess I'm not surprised with its size and heft that it weighs more like 3 ounces, not 2. But still, I will admit I have thrown this on a heavy power rod and gotten away with it. It does bend it more than you might be perhaps comfortable with in the moment, but it's not gonna break a heavy power rod that you would use for flipping, pitching, frogging, punching, etc. So yeah, preferred setup for it would be on a lightweight swim bait setup that's designed for 1 to 4, 1 to 5 ounce baits, like a Dobbins Fury 795. But the Bass Pro XPS Swerve, giving this bad boy away for free, retails for $20. I think even if you don't win, if you don't already have this bait, you ought to check it out and pick one up for yourself. So hashtag Swerve, last chance to enter. I'll give you 1 more minute and then we're going to draw the winner. Okay. I'll try not to scratch your bait, dude, but you won't notice it anyway since it's so transparent. And whatever, you better scratch your bait if you win. You better start throwing that because it's just been collecting dust here for the last 4 months. Someone's got to throw it. Rapala cranks and jerk baits are on sale at Discount Tackle now. Appreciate it. Yeah, they're in stock. If you have a Cabela's or Bass Pro local to you, go there. They've usually got them in stock at the store, but you can also buy them online, and they'll ship for free to a local store, or maybe even for free to you. But all right, so I believe we're only at 15 entries, and we're gonna go ahead and draw. Okay, all good. I don't really care. 1, 2, 3. We're drawing. Who wants it? JP, my man. I don't think JP has ever won a giveaway here, so congratulations, JP. Hit me up, send me an email, or on Instagram. Either way, you can send me a DM on Instagram or email me at hooksetsarefree18@gmail.com. Okay, hooksets are free, all one word, 18@gmail.com. I'll send you that bait in the mail this week. Congratulations, dude. Right on. JP, longtime watcher of the stream. I appreciate it. So pretty cool. And let's move on back to Discount Tackle. There's the Yamatanuki right there for you, Adam Mahara. They've got it in the 2.5 now, as well as the 3.5. They also have the smaller, newer Jackal Bounty Fish in the junior size, which appeals to me because I would say the full-size Jackal Bounty Fish has been a little bit intimidating to me, to the point that I've really only thrown it like one time, if that. And yeah, it's a pretty big bait. The Bounty Fish is a 6-inch topwater fluke style bait with that joint in there, a mesh joint. So it's made to walk very well in place. It's got a hook slot system. Kind of shows you exactly how to rig it to come out that chin and then rig it on top with a big 5 or 6/0 hook. Supposed to skip really well, walk really well. I have not fished it very much, but a smaller size, and I'm kind of down with that. No problem, JP. Congratulations again. Yeah, it felt kind of like Gators Adventures was going to win, right? Saw his name a bunch at the end there. But back we go. So got the Bounty Fish Junior in stock. And this is how I peruse the website on an average basis. I'll go to the new arrivals and I'll scroll down to see what they've gotten in the last week, 2, or month, depending on how long it's been since I've been on the website. And then based on what I'm interested in, I will check the colors to see what's available, right? So the Vibration X Dyna, let's see if many of these have sold. Nope. They're all in stock right now. Vision 95, same deal. Well, Frozen Tequila, maybe some of you guys bought one after you saw that I did. I don't know. But baits like this with the Yamatanuki, a lot of them are going to sell out quick. So quite frankly, the only color that they have in stock right now is dark green pumpkin with amber. That's a color that might be out of stock right now at Tackle Warehouse. So something to pay attention to and cross-reference on a regular basis, right? We talked about this mini swim jig on Debo's stream. I think it's a really good miniature swim jig. Good for what it is. It's got a solid hook in it. But I don't know. They've got the newer mini magic worm, which is cool. So perhaps a little bit better for a smaller, lighter shaky head, or to throw on a drop shot or a wacky rig on a drop shot. Just more finesse presentations. But that 6-inch magic worm was the original that came out. You get a bunch in the pack. These are poured by RoboWorm, but sell for $10 a pack. So kind of an interesting concept there. Got the Spunk Shad in both sizes, and then a bunch of Picasso baits. And I'm not going to go through everything that is new to Discount Tackle in the last month or two, but you can see the depths was new to them a little over a month ago. So pretty cool. Dirty jigs, Discount Tackle's getting new stuff in regularly. Last month, you also saw me pick up one of these dudes in the Picasso all-terrain weedless inline spinner. Cool concept. Have not fished it yet. Need to. Pretty cool deal. But let's talk about... See, normally I would go new arrivals, then maybe clearance, or specifically by sales of what is on the website, right? I'm not sure where Daniel or somebody saw that, Rapala and other things are specifically on sale right now. But you could just go to the Z-Man sale specifically, or you could go to clearance. And there's a few different ways to filter. I don't like featured on any given website, so I would either go best selling or price low to high. So let's just go price low to high, and we'll probably skip the first page. If you want to go really cheap, look at they're going all the way down to $1.50 now on some of these 13 fishing baits, which is just a ridiculous steal. I mean, it's solid quality soft plastic baits. So if you haven't tried those baits and you're interested, you should pick some up. But otherwise, I usually would skip this first page or two. Although what? We're already up to $16, $22. What? What happened there? Is the clearance page only 2 pages long right now? They just don't have a lot listed on clearance. That's interesting. Normally, it's a lot of stuff. It's like everything that is on sale. So that confuses me a little bit. But I would go freshwater fishing. And then we'll go between hard baits, soft baits, and then maybe terminal tackle or frogs or swim baits or top water. Okay. But a lot of times what I like to do is go by brand. You can see that they list as their top brands. Some of these are discounted on a regular basis, like Z-Man, Yozuri, Rapala, Strike King, Berkeley. You can buy discounted on a regular basis. So if we were to just go to Berkeley, for example, and look at their soft baits, you'll see that their baits are sitting at 10% off every day. Okay. Every now and again, the retail price will be slightly different than what you'll find at different retailers, but that is kind of standard across the industry. Not everywhere charges the same amount. But if you see something that looks a little fishy, a little bit overpriced for what it ought to be, just do your homework, double check. If you need to purchase from Tackle Warehouse instead of Discount Tackle, by all means, do that. While we're at it and talking about Strike King baits, I said on Debo's stream before I got on there that the Strike King Rage Bug is perhaps just one of the OG and still go-to awesome baits for so many different things, whether you're throwing it on the back of a swim jig or a chatterbait or just on a Texas rig, which is perhaps the best. Also works really well on the back of a swing head or most other bottom bouncing jigs as a trailer. Works well on the back of a buzz bait or a spinner bait. You can do so many different things with a Rage Bug, and it's also a good flipping bait. They make it in 3 different sizes. The chameleon color, oh my gosh, so good. It makes me a little bit anxious to know that my last pack of chameleon Rage Bugs are off the shelf and in my go bag fishing right now. But I will probably pick up a pack of chameleon Rage Bugs in next month's package. I'll just say that. So I like the Magnum Rage Bug, which is a 4.5-inch bait. The standard Rage Bug or structure bug, if you will, is 4 inches. And then they make a baby Rage Bug, which is 3 inches. I think they even made a mid-size Rage Bug last year or the year before that was 3.5 inches. I have not actually used or tried that yet, but no way, Hayden. Gaethje put Dustin Poirier to sleep with a head kick. I was tempted to not go live tonight because of the fights, but that's crazy, dude. Really? Head kick. Thanks for the update. Appreciate it, dude. Wow. I would not have expected that. I thought it was going to be a bloodbath on the feet with the hands. Interesting. Okay. Rage Bug, Chameleon, underrated. And they've got some sweet colors like green pumpkin, purple swirl, and with the blue swirl. Was that it down there? No, blue car, red flake. That was what you saw in the big dog, the Magnum. Here's the blue craw, black blue swirl. We've got some really cool colors, but the original Rage Bug is tough to beat. Way better than the Rage Craw, in my opinion. The 2.5 wake bait, also killer bait. I've talked about this a lot in the past. One of my favorite summertime baits, regardless of the time of day, but especially in the evening hours, middle of the night, or first thing in the morning. Bulging this thing on top on a medium fast retrieve, stopping it once or twice during the cast for like a half a second. Killer style retrieve. Great bait. Very loud rattle on it. Talked earlier tonight on Debo's stream about how the Rage Menace grub for me used to be like a do everything type of bait, but especially as a trailer on moving baits. Was like on a swim jig or a chatterbait, this was my go-to trailer, and I would rig it both ways, right? I would rig it horizontally so that the tails would be kicking flat wise. If I wanted to have a little bit more rise and to perhaps emulate a crawdad, depending on how I was fishing the bait, but really to give it more lift. And I would rig it vertically if I wanted it to emulate a bait fish and ride a little bit more in the middle of the water column. But great bait. But what I prefer now is actually the Z-Man Goat. And what you'll notice is the main difference. Look at how round the body is of the Rage Tail Menace grub, right? Z-Man Goat. Take a look at the goat. This dude is flat. You can't tell from just the profile here. It doesn't show you the side view. But the goat is wider than it is fat. It is not totally round. It is flat from a side perspective. So it wants to be rigged horizontally, not vertically, but it can be rigged both ways. Especially if you get a solid color like pearl or black and blue or green pumpkin, which are obviously the main colors to get, but all of them are great. You don't get a bunch in the pack. You get 4 per pack with the standard, 3 with the Billy, or maybe 5 or 6 with the baby goat. And it's super, super durable, has almost the same type of action that a Rage Menace grub does, but I mean, almost 10 times the durability. And it's just an upgrade of a bait. So this has become my go-to bait, especially on a chatterbait the last 3 or 4 years. And I can't recommend it enough. So if you haven't thrown it, you need to. Hybrid Hunter, yes and no at the same time. I used the standard Hybrid Hunter a fair amount. And then once the Hybrid Hunter Junior came out, then I stocked up and I started using it more. I like it quite a lot. It's loud though, so it depends on the mood that your fish are in and how aggressive they are. But I would recommend the Hybrid Hunter Junior personally. The standard Hybrid Hunter is a big bait, right? The Junior is a standard size bait at 2.5 inches or 3 inches long and a half ounce. The Hybrid Hunter is like a 4-inch long bait and weighs closer to an ounce. It's a big ass bait. Okay, I'll just say that. So the Junior is the deal. And it runs just a little bit shallower. It's a 2 to 4, I believe. Yeah, 2 to 4. And I think the standard Hybrid Hunter is a 3 to 5 foot diver. So if you're going to throw one versus the other, I would go with the Junior. and it does come through grass. And you can pull the grass off of the bait if you're going over the top and through grass and you feel a little bit of grass catch on it. You can snap it like you would with a chatterbait, and it clears kind of in the same type of way. So it comes through grass really well. And because it's so obnoxious and has more of a crankbait style action, if you have a place that you like to throw a chatterbait but not get bogged down in the grass so much and snap it out, but where it will occasionally catch on the grass and you need to clear it off, where a normal crankbait will get hung in that grass and will get just all mucked up, the Hybrid Hunter is the deal for that situation. Dude, I did not watch the fights, but I'm curious to watch the replays for sure. I do use both, but I use the standard goat a lot more frequently because I tend to use the goat as a trailer more than anything else. And I would say I'd use the billy goat as a buzzbait trailer more than the standard, and also as a punching or pitching style bait. If I'm just flipping to short pieces of cover that I can visibly see, I'd probably use the billy goat, but the standard goat is just so versatile. I might throw the billy goat also on a swing head on bottom, but as any type of jig trailer, the goat is the deal. Or shall I say it's the goat. But the baby goat on a downsized jig or on a Ned rig is so good. It's underrated, and I think it gets slept on. So Z-Man makes a little tiny finesse, Midwest finesse swim jig, kind of like the Missile Ike's mini swim jig. And Z-Man also makes some mini chatterbaits, like the chatterbait micro and the flashback mini. And a 3-inch trailer like that just goes so well on the back of something with a little hook on it. So yes, the baby goat is great, but in more finessey presentations. No, half ounce at 3 inches dives 2 to 4 feet. Did I say 3.5 inches? 3 inches, half ounce. I think I initially said 2.5 inches, but it's 3 inches and a half ounce. Dives 2 to 4 feet. Gizzard shad. They make it in some great colors. Really obnoxiously loud. Got that L bill on it. I like this just as well, if not perhaps a little bit better than I do the 6th Sense Swank. Now, I think the Swank was faster to come out in the smaller size, the 66, instead of the 77. But with both baits, I do prefer the smaller, more mid-sized bait and not that oversized giant bait that is the 77 and the standard Hybrid Hunter. So that's just me. Some people might prefer an oversized crank, and by all means, go for it if you like that kind of thing. Daniel, I think it would do well at night, assuming that you are familiar with the body of water, right? If you know how much grass is in it and where that grass sits, then by all means, go for it. But at night, I generally prefer to throw more of a topwater or a wake bait, or something like a chatterbait or a swim jig that I know for sure won't foul because it doesn't have treble hooks on it. But if I'm throwing a crankbait for the most part at night, I don't do it. maybe a wake bait, right? That's going to stay as close to the surface as possible. But if you don't have a grass problem, yeah, something like the Hybrid Hunter would be a great option because it's so obnoxiously loud and does move a lot of water. So by all means, go for it, dude. Give it a shot. You got the Victory chatterbait rod. I have something of the sort as well, and I find that it is too soft. I don't know if we're saying the same thing, Gators Adventures. I'll show you my rod sometime, but it's much more moderate than I would have thought. I want a little bit more backbone, a little bit quicker tip than I would have thought. And I've gotten used to like a true medium heavy moderate or moderate fast, if you will. And the St. Croix rod that I've been using just feels like a true crankbait rod. Like it's slower and it bends deeper into the rod. So I kind of bothers me, or it's hard to get used to. Now I still can hook up with fish, but it makes me nervous as I'm using it. And I find that I'm fishing the bait faster. So maybe it's just me getting used to it. But so far, I'm like, when I use that rod setup, I'm like, man, this really needs to be a crankbait rod. It doesn't feel too much. No, mine's a medium heavy, so I don't know. I'll show you sometime. And I don't know that it's called a chatterbait rod necessarily, but on we go. Any other questions that you guys have right now? I'd be happy to answer. We don't need to just go through Strike King stuff right now. We can roast through. I forget what somebody said that a few brands were on sale right now, and I was not familiar with that. But here's Bass Patrol. I talked about these jigs on Debo's stream tonight. Check this out, yo. They make them in silicone and they make them in round rubber. $2.80. Recessed line tie that is inside the head of the jig, and they make these in some great colors, which all look black from those pictures, but black, black and blue, black and red, brown with green pumpkin silicone, brown with orange silicone. And keep in mind, these are all rubber, round rubber with hand-tied skirts. Mustad hooks, and they're just high quality jigs at less than $3 a pop. I don't know what to tell you. They come in a 1/4 ounce with a 2/0 hook, which is what I showed on Debo's stream, all the way up to a 3/4 ounce with a 5/0 hook. Now these are football jigs, sure, but really high quality. And they also make these swing heads that are pretty effective, pretty cost effective as well. So a 2-pack for $5.50. You can get them in stock in brown or green right now. Weird that it's not changing color. And I believe that's a Mustad hook, VMC hook. Okay. But I do like the gap on that. It's like it's already turned up. Bass Patrol with rubber, underrated. Bait Pop. What is this? Oh, this is this new product. I don't use live sonar, so can't say that it's important to me. BKK is new to Discount Tackle. So I often peruse through the brands page, would see, oh yeah, I didn't recognize it, Dirty Jigs is relatively new to Discount Tackle. So what do they carry that I don't necessarily already have or use? Maybe the Dirty Jigs Finesse Swim Jig. Where is it? Here it is. Boom. You got that finesse cut under skirt, which I was telling Randy about, that I like to do to a lot of my jigs. Now, that bait keeper, I'm not a huge fan of. So for $5.50, I'd probably get a grass ripper, right? I talked about this. For $1 more, the Evergreen Grass Ripper Swim Jig is just top notch. 4-aught heavy wire Gamakatsu hook. This is the same hook that is built into the Jackhammer Chatterbait. Has a solid weed guard and a double wire bait keeper, just like on the Jackhammer. Comes in all 4 sizes from 1/4 ounce up to 3/4, and in the same colors that you get the Jackhammer in. And look, it's in stock in like most of these colors. All of them are great, and they pair up so well with the Z-Man Goat, with the Z-Man Diesel Minnows, with the Kitech, with any swim jig trailer that you prefer, whether it's a craw or a swim bait or otherwise. The Grass Ripper is my current go-to swim jig on the market. But yeah, I like to browse the website by looking at brands and then narrowing down. But we could go within bait types as well. But just like was the case with Debo, if we look at soft baits, you'll notice there's so many different categories, and we're not going to play that game tonight. So you guys might need to steer this conversation. We've been on for an hour and 22 minutes. It is getting late. And I'm happy to talk about whatever, but I don't want to just blab for no particular reason. So feel free to ask any questions that you might have. And if you want to know any particular sleepers in any one category, feel free to ask me, because I know I didn't necessarily address the topic of tonight's conversation very well, and I apologize for that. Yeah, I would not say the baby bullshed is a wake bait per se, but it is a good bait. I've got a handful of them. I don't throw it as much as I did when I first got them, but yeah, you have to fish them pretty fast to keep them on the surface. But I like to fish them medium fast and keep them in the upper middle portion of the water column in the top few feet. It's a good bait, though. It does run true. Really? Okay. Doesn't affect me, but I hear you. BKK. BKK, represent. Okay. Chicken fried steak. Things are good. Things are good. Hope you're doing well, man. Good to see you. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, Evergreen is good stuff. We could just go look and see on average. Like Evergreen used to be, I think, 20% off every day on Discount Tackle. It's not anymore, but let's just see what the average discount is. if you're looking for a shower blows, for example, that's 270. Is that 50% off or 15% off? I mean, something like that. Shower blows is a great bait. Now, the JT series of walking baits. This is the silent walking bait. Really crisp action. Awesome paint jobs. Fantastic hardware straight out of the package. Underrated bait. Both sizes. Again, like I mentioned with the dual hardcore jerkbait, this smaller 95 size bait comes with 3 treble hooks on it. Now, there's smaller treble hooks, right? But you should not be concerned with that. No, that's the shower blows. Show us the JT. We don't need to see the shower blows right now. Come on, B height. Okay, there it is. I can't tell. I think that's still the shower blows. No, that's the JT. I don't love that footage. Did I mute myself or just that footage? Yo, you've been fishing every day the last 2 weeks? That is sick. All right, let me flip off for a second. Yes, I have, but I don't all that frequently. I throw a drop shot more than the free rig. I throw a Tokyo rig more than the free rig, but I throw them for different situations, right? I tend to throw the drop shot in high percentage areas where I want the bait to suspend above something that's on the bottom, right? If I know the fish aren't necessarily relating to the bottom, or if there's muck, if there's mud or juvenile grass that's growing up, I will definitely throw a drop shot with somewhere between a 8 and 18-inch leader. It's huge for me in the spring. But then I will throw a Tokyo rig like this time of year where essentially it just replaces a short leader drop shot with something that I can get through tighter spots of where there's holes in the grass or I'm fishing the edges of grass. I can make more precise casts and flips and present that bait right along the bottom where the fish are relating more to the bottom at this time of year when it's super hot and they're going under mats of grass and they're right on the edges of things. I'm going to throw something like a Tokyo rig, but the free rig can work in that same situation to what I just mentioned, and you're going to get that slow, dramatic fall. So I haven't really dialed it in yet, but I would imagine that it's probably most effective in that situation thrown on a heavier weight. I've always thought of the free rig as like a lightweight situation, and most of the free rig weights that I have are like 3/8 ounce. And I just fish them in open water or, I'm kind of wandering around, not figuring out the best place to use it. But as I'm troubleshooting and thinking about it, I think throwing it in place of a Jika rig or a Tokyo rig would probably be the most appropriate on weed edges or right near a high percentage area in the summer where you want the bait to kind of do something dramatic on the fall, but really in that bottom section of the water column. So whether you're fishing deep water or not, you're going to throw it out there to where you want it to fall. Weight goes down first, and then after the weight hits the bottom, it's pulled the bait down a certain amount. And once the weight hits the bottom, then the bait just kind of eases its way down, does its own meandering, falling, swimming, kicking, whatever type of action that it has. And yeah, there's definitely a time and place for it. I just have not like dialed it in. Yes, I do have the Z-Man Micro Soft Plastics, and I've had success on one or two of them, but not as many as I thought that I would have by now. I haven't on the Finesse TRD or the Tiny Ticklers, but I have on the Larvas and one of the others, not the shads, but I forget what they're called. But yeah, they're pretty good. And the striking ones I probably am gonna get, dude. At least 2 or 3 of them. Like the popper, the walking bait. And I'm gonna be a sucker for the Megabass ones too, if we're being honest. Yeah, I like the stingers better than the shad fries, at least I think. Top 3 drop shot baits. These days, it's the Strike King Baby Z2, the Savage Gear Ned Salamander, and the Kitech Easy Shaker, either in the 4.5 or the 5.5. Three totally different profiles. All have awesome actions on them. Great on a drop shot. But there's a lot of drop shot baits that I throw. I love a few different max scent baits, a few different robo-worm baits, a few different other Kitech baits too. We could talk drop shot all night sometime. Reapers. Yeah, I did just pick up the Zoom Reaper not that long ago. What do they call it? Is it in this box or no? Probably not. Salty Reaper. Now, yes, I would throw this on a drop shot, but have I yet? No, I just picked this up a couple months ago. Fascinates me. I didn't even know that it existed among a few other Zoom Soft plastics that I felt the need to pick up. You know, they're a little baby Ultra Vibe Speed Grub and a few other baits that are kind of newer to them. I mean, obviously the Unitoad is more mainstream now, but I didn't know a lot about it then. This was like when it first got released. So, Mike Christian, you're late to the stream, but you're early in time if you're on the East Coast or middle of the country. Yeah. Early in the evening hours, perhaps. Early in the morning hours. All right. So this is Last pour of the night. Probably not going to hang out super late. We've been on for an hour and 34 minutes. I appreciate everybody, especially you, Gators Adventures. Have a great rest of your evening. Cheers, everybody. We're just drinking a little bit of Maker's Mark. 90 proof, nothing special. But having fun talking about baits. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the live chat, and I would be happy to discuss. Mismo baits? No, I don't think so. Yeah. RoboWorm is good stuff. Kitech, Berkeley, Powerbait, flat nose minnow. I don't throw the flat nose minnow. I throw the flat worm. I throw the D worm, and I throw their tubes. A few other Maxent baits, and I definitely am a fan of Maxent, but I don't really throw the flat nose minnow. It's interesting. Daniel loves the rhythm wag. I like it, but I haven't given it enough attention, haven't given it the time of day just yet. And of course, I've got it rigged backslide here still since the last time that we talked about it. This is a bait that was designed to be fished on a backslide technique. So that you pitch it there, it will swim away from you. And then as you work it, it will go backwards and then swim into the cover. And good bait. Glad to hear that you love the drop shot. I think more people need to be open-minded to it, especially perhaps Debo, you know. East Coast checking in. Yep, it is late. I understand. If you guys need to dip out of here, no problem. Just make sure you hit that thumbs up button and keep an eye out for me being on next weekend, hopefully. My wife does have surgery next Thursday and Friday, so I would appreciate any thoughts and prayers. You know, I mean, it's not crazy, but she's got skin cancer on her nose. Does have to get it removed via a Mohs procedure, and then might have a reconstruction surgery the following day that could require a flap situation if they have to borrow some cartilage from her ear or her cheek and put it on as a flap on her nose. That might be the case, but we're hoping that won't be the case. We are trying to stay as optimistic as possible. And yeah, that's coming up end of next week. Although I get to go out to New Orleans and meet my new baby nephew in 2 days from now. My sister had her first baby, and I'm getting to go meet him in just a couple days. So very excited about that. So hopefully I'll see you guys in a week or so. But look at you guys loving on the drop shot. I love you guys. Raised on the drop shot. Aaron Martins was the drop shot master. Perhaps still is, although there are newer guys that are hot right now, especially the Johnson bros. Drop shot that wag. Yeah, I probably ought to. I just haven't yet. And there are other similar profiles that I like to drop shot quite well. So is that how you're fishing it? Yes, it's the rhythm wag. Mike, why, dude? That's funny. No, I'm going to disagree with Debo on that. Now, if you're exclusively fishing rocks and the places that you're throwing jigs and losing them, sure. But if you're fishing predictably shallow areas where you're less likely to get hung up, if you can cast far enough away from the bank where there's rocks and keep it out deep where you know that fish typically hold, and bring it to the drop off, where the rocks begin, and then snap it and reel it in before making another cast. Debo is just being lazy, not throwing a drop shot. He should know by now that he can throw a drop shot on power fishing gear. He doesn't need to throw a fairy wand. He doesn't need to throw it on 10-pound braid and 8-pound fluorocarbon necessarily. So, yeah, he needs to get on it with the drop shot game. So, yeah. And it doesn't have to be slow, but I appreciate that, Mike. Yeah, we're hoping the same thing, dude. Hoping and praying that it will be smooth and just a matter of, maybe at most a couple of weeks, but knowing that it might be longer, we'll see. Thank you very much. Look at you, Daniel. You made yourself start throwing it on a drop shot. Well, I admire that. And you know what? I took it off of this little baby 1/0 ringed hook, rigged backslide, and I need to remind myself to throw this on a drop shot, see what its posture looks like in the water. There are a lot of minnow style baits that I like to throw on a drop shot already. So I don't know, between a shad shaped worm and a baby Z2 and a bunch of other baits, I don't know that like this is going to jump out at me as a game changer for what it is, but I'm going to give it a shot and I appreciate it. So thank you for letting me know. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Favorite drop shot hook? Now, this is something that I reserve the right to change my mind on, but for now, still the owner Mosquito. And in a lot of situations, the Mosquito Light. I do prefer the wide gap of the hook, but with that slight turn in. It's not at all like an octopus hook, right? But it's also not quite as wide gap as some of the newer hooks coming out in the market. So I think BKK and some other companies are making some great drop shot hooks now that are way better than like the Gamakatsu hook that, is turned in like this, where you almost have no hook gap. That Gamakatsu split shot drop shot hook is not good, but the owner Mosquito and Mosquito Light, I think, are great hooks. So that's typically what I tend to throw. I do not throw spin shot hooks. Sorry to say. I have tried that. Both Gamakatsu. I don't think I've thrown VMC, but where you've got this swivel built into the hook system, I find that interferes with the hookup. So I prefer to avoid throwing a swivel when I can and just know that line twist is going to be an issue, and I will retie every so often. But yes, nose hooking is the deal. And I prefer a lighter weight when I can get away with it. Something in the ballpark of like a 3/16 ounce. I don't think I've tried the Nishini. No. Owner Mosquito Light is the deal. Yeah, well, shoot, I'm going to be down there in just a few days, but I'm only going to be there for a short period of time, dude. So I don't know if I'm going to have the opportunity. Plus, I've got a newborn baby in the family that I'm looking to just love on and cuddle It would be different if it were like my trip to Florida, where I'm there for 5 or 6 days and I'm looking for a little alone time. I need an escape. And, for that trip, I went out of my way to buy a travel rod and bring a couple reels, bring a separate bag with like a bunch of baits. I brought a tackle box and maybe a dozen or more bags of soft plastics. I'm not doing that for this trip. Like, I'm going for less than 48 hours. And it's probably going to be hot as hell. I'm not going to be able to convince my sister or her husband to go outside much. Her husband's going to be working, but I think both of my parents are actually going to be there too. So, yeah, probably not fishing much, but owner is the primo nose hook. I agree. Mojo rigging. Good point. Nobody throws a Mojo rig anymore, except for the people that perhaps have always thrown a Mojo rig. But yeah, where my split shotters at? All right, JP. No one knows what you're talking about. Ryugi fog shot. Where's Matt when you need him to talk some nerdy JDM stuff? Ryugi, they're a lesser known JDM company that makes really good stuff, and nobody would know what the fog shot is, dude. Get out of here. And technically, I could say the same to you, Shop Life. Nishini drop shot hook. It's probably not called the drop shot hook, but ties on with a snell knot or a snail knot. Nishini. All right, fair enough. Well, I tend to just throw, the owner mosquito or mosquito light with a Palomar, and then I'll feed it back through, and it stays level. Standard drop shot procedure. Am I right? I don't know if I know the snail knot instead of the snell knot, but yeah, I just throw a Palomar on there and then feed it back through, and the hook stays level. Anything else, guys? It's crazy how this has gone crazy finesse all of a sudden. But I'm happy to talk about whatever. And I'm also not going to be on all that much longer. My butt is getting sore. Hayden Green says, ever use the bobber stops, one above and one below the hook eye on your drop shot setup? No, why? Hayden, explain to me. Why below the hook eye? That's interesting. I haven't looked at it yet, but I will check it out later for sure. Always Palomar. Yep, with you. JP, no worries. Hit me up about the giveaway. I'll send you that glide bait, dude, this week, okay? Well, perhaps next week. But thank you for hanging out tonight. Congrats on winning the glide bait. Have a great rest of your weekend. I don't know what you're saying, Daniel. Thank you, JP. All right. So what are you saying will slide? The bait? I don't mind the bait sliding up the line. I really don't. So for depth control, you're wondering if I use bobber stops one above and one below the hook eye on my drop shot setup. So weight down here, hook here, and bobber stops on both ends. That doesn't control the depth. It's the knot that controls the depth. It's where I place the weight. Now, it would be one thing if I'm using a sliding weight, right? But a drop shot weight is going to pin that weight where it is. You've got the leader length set. But if you have a sliding weight and you put bobber stops on both sides, you can control that depth of the leader length below where the hook is. Sure. But I don't know that we're speaking the same language. Wait a second. You're not tying a knot? Hey guys, you're freaking me out right now. What in the world is happening? You need to tie a knot onto your hook. Okay? Most drop shot weights are going to come pinched. You can set the leader length and you pinch it on. Ideally, you're using that pinched weight so that if you get snagged, you can just pull free. You'll lose your weight. You'll keep your hook. You can easily adjust or potentially cut off and retie the rig again. But to not tie on the hook, you got me freaking out a little bit, dude. Don't do that. Don't knock it till you try it. It's one thing if you want to throw a free rig weight on there. Let's just say, I can't even quite imagine this, but let's say you tie a Palomar onto your drop shot hook with an extra long lead onto it, right? And you use a Palomar and you loop it back through. So you've got the knot on there, but then you've got this tag end this long. Put a bobber stop all the way down here. And for first, I guess you put a bobber stop, then your free rig weight, which is an open eye drop shot weight. And then you put another bobber stop on there. And then you're working with a maximum leader length. And if the fish aren't eating, you know that they're relating to the bottom. You can tighten that bad boy up and snip off some of the leader. So you're just shortening the leader. But why do you need the bobber stops and that, the open eye drop shot to do that? You can tie it long. And if it's not working, then pull it off of that and cut it down and re-go. I mean, you're freaking me out, dude. Hayden. 2 stops on the main line on bottom tied with the knot. So you throwing it like a split shot rig and not like a drop shot? You just got a bobber stop on both sides, and you're throwing it like a Carolina rig, if you will. Don't say it's under the eye. Where if you're throwing a knot on that hook, what are you doing with the bobber stops? You got hook here, weight here. Where are the bobber stops? Are they over here or are they over here? You're freaking me out, dude. I'm seeing it as this type of rig and not this type of rig. The bobber stops up here or are they down here? I mean, I feel like I'm going to have to get out of here. I don't know if I'm getting drunk or if you're just not helping me, dude. Hayden. How old are you, Hayden? We got jazz hands going on here. Two barber stops, 505? We all know they're called bobber stops, not baba stops. You guys are getting crazier by the moment. The weight is tied on with a knot, but the hook is adjustable by the bobber stops. Yo, I guess I'm gonna keep an open mind about this, but you guys are gonna make me have weird dreams tonight. I'm gonna be thinking about some funky stuff tonight. All right. I don't even know what to say. You got the wheels in my brain turning, and I'm not totally mad about it, but I don't do that kind of stuff very often. Guys, JP Harrell won the giveaway tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out. It's been an hour and 58 minutes. I appreciate all of your support. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button. If you want to purchase anything from Discount Tackle, use my link. I will leave a link in the description of this video after it is posted. But otherwise, thank you so much for hanging out. Sorry I was confused at the end of this stream. It's not necessarily because I'm drunk. Maybe it is. But also just because, what are we doing with the bobber stops? Guys, I enjoyed it too, Shop Life. Thank you for hanging out. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do me that solid. And I'll see you guys in the next one, okay? Peace, guys. Daniel T, leaving the affiliate link. Hit it if you need it. Oh, Hayden says, slide one stop up your main line, run the hook up, add one or two more stops, and then tie on your teardrop. Yeah, okay, we get it. I'm open-minded. You're using the bobber stops to adjust where your hook goes, but you're using a... That's interesting, dude. I'll show you on the next stream. Appreciate you letting us know. You're tying on the drop shot weight. Yeah, that's kind of opposite of normal, but right on, dude. Good for you. Hope it works out. Matt, you've been in the background all night, and I appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your work. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Appreciate y'all. See you again soon. Peace out.